watching the Flying Monkey Podcast.
All right, folks. Well, welcome to another episode of the Flying Monkey Podcast. In our episodes where we talk to parents about what they're going through, and they get to tell their story and kind of help bring up awareness of what's going on with all these situations with custody and having to go through family courts and all that. Today we have Giuseppe. He's in New York. How you doing, Giuseppe?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Good. No, thanks for coming on. So I guess we're going to just have you tell us a little bit about what's going on with your story. So like, when did your case start? I guess we start from the beginning.
The case started in 2020 during the pandemic.
Okay.
Exactly in May 2020.
So that's about
And
4 years ago. Yeah.
it's past 4 years just now, yes.
Okay. And how was it during the pandemic? That's pretty hard, huh?
It was very hard because we didn't have access to the court, so we had to do everything remotely. And some people have a difficulty login, they don't know how to use computer, and it was a mess. In my case, the judge herself didn't know how to use computers and PDF files and stuff like that. So she needs help on.
That can make it difficult.
Very difficult. Yeah, she needed an assistant next to her in order to look into the papers because she couldn't access any files online.
Wow. Yeah, that really makes it kind of not a fair trial just to
No,
begin
not
with.
fair at all. Yeah.
So basically you were in family court for a divorce?
I started divorce after some false allegation came out, and they led to an arrest. So, despite this alleged arrest was kind of dismissed because the district attorney decided to drop the charges. Other things came into the picture, and my ex-wife, she got me rearrested.
Oh.
And so we end up in criminal court because she asked for an order protection. My daughter got involved into this criminal matter, and it was during pandemic. So they assuming, okay, let's give an order protection left and right. So, things go along with the plan.
Wow. No. So now how many children do you have? You have
I have one daughter.
one
At
daughter.
the
Okay.
time she was 1 year old.
Oh, wow. Okay. So she's
Yeah.
about 5 now?
She just turned 5, yes.
Yeah. And so do you get to see her now?
I get to see her now only once in a while when the mother is okay to call me because there is only an order of phone calls, video calls,
Okay.
and she's supposed to initiate the call, but once or two times a week she decides not to call and she blames it on me, and she has her mood swings.
Yeah, that's tough. I know a
Yeah.
lot of parents, and it happens with both. It happens with men and women. It's, not a gender thing that one of the parents, I guess for another, I mean, there's many words to use, but they alienate or they just try to keep the children away from the other
Yeah,
parent.
yeah, no, and it's working because my daughter was with me most of the time when she was an infant, and my ex, she had a problem with giving birth. She went through this whole process of postpartum disorder, and she was staying away from her daughter,
Oh,
and
wow.
I had to take care of her daughter and eventually her too. And sadly, when she came back to kind of normal, she decided to be a home mother without knowing her daughter. She didn't, she speaks Russian, I speak Italian. We both speak English, and I teach my daughter Spanish instead of Italian. So my ex-wife, she didn't understand what my daughter was trying to say because she speaks Spanish at that time.
Oh, wow.
And my ex-wife, she tried to speak Russian to her or in English, and my daughter didn't respond the way she should. So she said my ex-wife came out with a genius idea to go back to her country. She said, my mom is gonna babysit over there, so she's gonna learn Russian, and we're gonna be fine over there because of the difference with the money. We're gonna be rich. You can sell the house, you can sell the cars, you can sell your business, and we're gonna just live for free over there. I said, I'm not okay with that And that's when she went to make this false allegation to remove me from the house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, it's very scary because when the first time she told me about this false allegation that she was going to make, I got scared, because I said, what do I have to protect myself against this false allegation? You know, and apparently she had it all figured out. She said, "Oh, you think they're gonna put me as a little girl? Oh, you businessman and a big guy compared to me." I'm like, this lady, she's right. So I went out, I put a security camera inside the house, outside the house, in the basement, everywhere. I said, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen now because she's in a hurry to leave. And what do you know? The next week, she started threatening me of going to the police to have me arrested. And I said, why don't you just do it instead of threatening me every time? And then we'll see who the police is gonna believe. Because I thought that the law will ask you for any proof. The police, I assume that they will ask you, hey, did you do this? Did you do that? Do you have any proof? Do you have any pictures? So instead, it didn't happen. The police came, they arrested me, and that was the end of it.
Wow.
And I'm stuck with this video evidence and audio that my ex-wife, she threatened me right before making these false allegations that she was going to get me arrested for multiple reasons, and whatever reason she alleged on this evidence that I have, she does not allege where she actually went to report me for. This one, it was a brand new one.
Oh, wow.
And and now I'm stuck with this evidence that she is completely a sociopath, technically, because she threatened me on multiple things first, and then she went to the police, I don't know where, to get an order of protection, and I didn't know at the time that how it worked. I thought that I had whatever I needed to protect myself, but apparently the police, they don't do any investigations here. They
Yeah, it
just
just
come out
seems
to arrest.
it just seems as if you're guilty before you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, and it doesn't
Yeah,
seem to be the way it is these days. Yeah, and yeah, that happens a lot. It seems to be a trend amongst all the people that I've
it's
talked
a
to.
big trend, and actually it seems like that in order to make it work, these allegations, it's basically like in every case that I heard, it's a domestic violence, and not necessarily has to be done in the same day when you go report it. Because in my case, my ex-wife, she said that I committed domestic violence, but in the past, it wasn't even an emergency to go to the police and say, hey, I need an order of protection because he assaulted me, for example. She said,
Yeah,
oh, he assaulted me, but it happened 3-4 months ago. And the police, they just took her word for it.
yeah. They in court they call that hearsay. It's
Right.
just
It's
hearsay. It's
it's
not
worse
real.
than hearsay because she lived with me up to that date that she made that report. Usually, if someone assaulted you, you get away from him, right?
Exactly.
And then eventually you make the police report, say, oh, he assaulted me last month and I haven't been living with him for this past month. Instead, she was living with me until the last minute. And
Yeah.
the videos that I installed in the house, they keep recording 24/7 and non-stop, and it shows that until the last minute nothing happened, and she actually tried to fix our relationship, but it was too late at that time.
Yeah.
She made it too obvious that it was fake.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough. Yeah, they
Yeah.
manipulate it. They manipulate you and try to get you to fall into their trap. So,
Well,
so
they
now,
try to extend the time of staying to cause additional damage, because
yeah,
I figured it out by looking at the videos day by day. I literally I live my life 2 times because I saw her on video backwards because it's 24/7. So I play every single day, every single hours. I see what happened. Why my ex-wife, she was drove to go to the police, and apparently someone coaching her. I
Yeah.
heard her speaking on the phone with someone who
Oh,
told
wow.
her what to do, and I had this phone calls translated because she speaks Russian, and I know exactly what they're talking about, when she was going to do the police report. So it was premeditated.
That's insane. So basically, you've got the proof of everything,
Yeah.
and yet still you're going through this nightmare, and you're not even able to hug your daughter and give her a hug and
Yeah,
a
no,
kiss
nothing.
goodnight,
I
or
had
read
a
her even 1 day a week or 2 days a week. Like, it's still not fair where parents only get a weekend, but I mean,
not fair at all, because apparently the courts, they don't care about you having this evidence, especially because the judge in the past, he was very biased.
Mhm.
And despite that she was very biased, I used to have my daughter every weekend,
Yeah.
unsupervised. I had overnights. She used to sleep at my house for the full weekend, and we never had issues. But then at some point, when we decided to do sharing parenting, which, to be completely honest, I was not okay with sharing parenting, because it takes time for me, time for her, and in my business, I'm not able to do my work. I either need a full time, or it's something that has to be established. And apparently, with a woman like this, you can never trust her.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah, and yeah, the people that act that way, they're very insecure, and there's probably a
yeah, no,
long list of labels you could put on them. I mean, and it's men and women that do it too, because I talk to a lot of moms who have the dad doing the same thing that you're describing that your
mhm.
ex-wife is doing, or your wife
And
is doing.
the biggest problem, it seems to be the court and the attorneys. You never know what happens once you go to court, because this attorney, they ambush you with the new narratives, something that didn't even happen. Because if they don't have anything to present to the judge, they make up some new story, new narrative right there in front of you,
Yeah.
and you technically, you've been ambushed, and you don't know what to say, because this attorney neither he filed anything with the court, neither she's knowing what she's talking about, and you cannot answering, because the judge is biased. Possibly that she already knew that this new narrative was gonna come out, and exactly what happened in my case. The judge suspended my visits, my overnight weekends, which is a major
Violation. Yeah.
shock. It's a
Well, it's a
major shock.
violation of your constitutional rights, your natural rights, your civil rights,
Yeah,
your
and
parental
for
rights. I mean,
I got traumatized for my daughter, because she got traumatized, and
yeah.
it's a big shock. You're taking your father away completely after many years of weekends together. Like every week I used to see her,
Yeah,
and she
it's like
sleeps over.
an intentional attempt to destroy the attachment between a parent and
Yes,
their child, which
that's
is
exactly what it was.
devastating. It's devastating for the child. It's devastating for the parent too. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, like I was shocked. My daughter got kidnapped right in front of my eyes. You see here in the picture, we used to go to dancing class. We used to have a cooking class,
oh,
and even today, every time I speak to her, I ask her, "Would you like me to take you back to dancing classes?" She said, yes, please," because her mom keeps her home with the babysitter, and I believe she's going to the park, maybe to the beach when it's hot, but she needs this parent
she
child
needs
attention, like a
exactly.
babysitter doesn't give her where a parent gives.
Yeah, no, exactly. There's no reason why you
So,
couldn't be taking care of her in the times when she needs a babysitter.
Are you a victim of parental alienation? HopeInDarkness.me introduces a House on Fire Academy, the only online training program to help you rescue your kids. Become certified in the application of science-based court rescue skills. The program includes classes, courts rehearsals, proficiency reviews, inarguable evidence collection, motion development proficiency tests, and certificates. Sign up today and start the journey to getting your kids back.
my ex-wife, she's very jealous of the bond that I have with my daughter, because I'm the primary parent at the time when she was born,
Yeah.
And so she's more attached to me than her. So she needed to strip it away from me. Now she only speaks Russian. She barely understands me.
Oh,
She does
really?
remember some Spanish. Yes, she does remember some Spanish still, but she speaks broken English, and we have a difficulty in communication too now with my daughter. So that's another issue.
Wow.
And
And
my
is she,
ex-wife doesn't.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Is she in the United States right now, or is she in Russia?
No, she's here. She's in the United States.
Okay, so is she in school?
No, my ex-wife, she's not sending it to school. I made a multiple request with the court, and the court is saying I cannot do nothing until the next hearing. And apparently, this hearing been scheduling every 3 and 4 months, 3 and 4 months. My daughter turned 5, and she's not in school. I used to push to put her into school because at only age I have a videos of her at age 8 months she started talking. That's why my ex-wife, she went a little psycho, because she's like, well, how come she speaks to you and you can understand her, because that's Spanish, and she doesn't understand Russian. I'm like, why don't you spend some time with her so that she
Yeah.
can speak Russian with you? Like, I don't speak Russian. How's she supposed to speak Russian?
Yeah. Well, she
Do you
could have
understand?
participated, and you guys could have all said, ball, pelota, and then,
Yeah.
how do you say it in Italian? How
So
do you say it in Russia? I've seen kids
exactly.
that are 5, 6 years old that speak 5 or 7 languages fluently.
I gave up. I gave up speaking Italian to her. That's my mother language, because here in New York, Spanish is a second language, and I wanted my daughter to be a step ahead of everybody. Like.
Yeah. That's
And
great.
I was shocked that she started to speak 8 months old. So I was every time she started talking to me, I used to recording her a lot, because I'm like, this is it's a big accomplishment for me. That means I did a good job. She's comfortable speaking to me particular things. Like, she wasn't just say papa, da, mama. She was saying, come here, help me, or pick
Yeah.
up this for me. Like, she was saying things that really make sense, that she wanted it at that time.
Yeah. And plus
So
recording, we're lucky. Like when I was a kid, I remember my dad bought a little movie camera, and
yeah,
I just fell in love with the thing, and I wanted to record everything. And then I got to watch those movies, and then, the old tapes, they dried up or got ruined by the weather and we lost them. So when I had my kid,
Mm.
my son, I was like, this is great. I got a phone. I can record all these memories for him so he can look back at all this wonderful, magical things that we were
correct.
doing.
Yeah,
And
memory is amazing. That's the only thing I got left.
and they
Because
go, they
even
look at you, go,
during
why are you recording these things? It's like,
right,
isn't it obvious? It's like the same as a picture album from 100 years ago. It's his
yeah,
life. It's his memories.
I invest into purchase a cloud from a GoPro. I only pay like $50 a year for the whole year, and I was able to record it every single minute that I had my daughter visits with me. So if I had a full weekends, for example, I have a video that it's 76 hours long. So I downloaded my full weekend with my daughter, and that actually helped me not to be arrested again. Because at some point, after a year and a half that I was seeing my daughter every week, my ex-wife, obviously, she was jealous of my bond with my daughter, the relationship that we had. And she went to the police to make another false report to try to take her away from me.
Wow.
And at that time, I was able to defend myself, because we were already in court. And ACS came into place. They came to my house. They say, the police is outside. We're going to arrest you because a new allegation will be made against you. I'm like, look, I don't consent to arrest me unless you've seen the proof. Like, I have a 76-hour video from last weekend with my daughter. If something happened at my daughter, it's supposed to be on this video. I say, here's the link, so you can watch it with the police that they're outside. And when you find something, you come here and arrest me. And she replied to me saying, oh, this is the full weekend with your daughter? I say, yes, it doesn't miss not even 1 minute. Even when she's in the bathroom, the camera is not pointed at her, but it's in the bathroom. So
Yeah,
if I
exactly.
hurt her, right. So the thing is, my ex-wife, she said that I hurt my daughter in some way. So I say, even if she's in the bathroom. I say the camera is not pointing at her sexually or anything, but you can hear if we're screaming or I hit her or she's crying or anything like that. I say, don't miss not even 1 minute. It's 76 hours, right?
Wow.
I say, enjoy yourself. You can watch the whole 76 hours and come back when you find something. And she said, oh, never mind. I'm going to call off the police. We don't need anything else. We're good. You
Thank
see?
God bless God bless video recordings, huh?
Well, and I actually, I push a lot of my friends doing the same thing. And now they're all going around with cameras, recording their visits, because
have no
this is the
choice.
only way to, yeah, you have no choice.
Yeah, I know.
Until you finish this situation with the court, you don't have much of the choice.
Exactly. Anything else that you wanted to mention?
Yes, this famous biased judge, I'm not gonna mention the name, she defaulted me on divorce and whatever matter was going on, and I was able to appeal it. And this new judge that got in, she vacated the default judgment. So technically, I'm back married to this woman, and now we're gonna sort it out which is true and which is false. The previous judge retired. I stood up against her in every way possible. We did a lot of street protests. We did multiple appeal by myself and multiple other people. I sat in court, and that's one of the strategy that it worked very well. I sat in court every day, and I connect with multiple litigants who were going through the same situation that I was going through with this particular judge, and we got to study together. They also filed multiple appeals. At some point, we went to the same appeal, 4, 5 of us at the same time. And that's when I think the appellate division decided not to have this judge in the bench anymore.
Well, that's
And
a good
she
thing.
was removed, and now she's no longer a judge.
That's fantastic. But
Yeah.
the
Well,
whole
they said
problem
that
with
she
that is that,
retired.
oh, really?
Yeah, they're alleging that she's retiring. Here in New York, there is a law specifically for this kind of thing. It's called Judiciary Law 47.
Okay.
When you find guilty of misconduct, violating the law, or violating the statutory rights, they give you an option either to resign, to retire, or you're gonna have to face the consequences. And since I had already a case going against this particular judge to put her in jail, having consequences against her, she decided to retire on her own, which is highly unlikely. She had 10 more years to go, and she retired in the exactly time when I was suing her.
Well,
Me and multiple other people, actually.
yeah. Well, when there's a bad actor doing bad things to people and not being honest or fair, following the law,
Very bad person. Yeah.
it's a wonderful thing that actually happened. But the frustrating thing for you is that now your case is, you were divorced, now you're not divorced, and now you have to go back through it all over again, huh?
Yeah, and in between my house, it was stolen. They apparently they sold my house without my consent, without my signature. There is a deed on the house, right? Every house has a deed.
Correct.
The reason a house has a deed, the car has a title, is to establish the ownership of this property. And both owners, they have to be present. They have an agreement, an appraisal, a contract. Everything is supposed to be laid out in front of you, with or without an attorney present, usually. But in my case, my house was stolen from me. I was not aware that it was a contract going. I didn't know any offer was available. I didn't sign anything. The attorney that my ex-wife hired, she hid everything from me in order to accelerate this process of sale. And now we are in a different litigation, suing the attorney, suing the realtor, suing the matrimonial attorney, suing the deed company. The deed company transferred the deed without a signature. Without a signature, like this is it's next to impossible, but it did happen. And we have the attorney general here in New York, for example, that she's worrying about Donald Trump, and she said that she cannot do nothing on my case, for example. And she said, "Oh, we don't seem to prosecute." I'm like, how is it possible? This is a deed fraud. a house is being sold without my consent. My name is on the deed, and you don't think this is a case? I said, oh, take it to the district attorney, she said. So I took it to the district attorney. The district attorney is not doing anything about it as well.
Wow.
And I had to do it personally now. I'm suing the deed company, the attorneys, the realtor office, the attorney office.
What
I
a
had to do
nightmare.
everything on my own.
So Giuseppe, through everything that you've gone through, is there like a specific message or something that you would like to share with other parents to
I
either
will say
beware
to,
of or to do or not to do?
well, it's obviously, I would strongly suggest not to get married, because in the minute you sign the marriage license, you give up everything to the state. The state makes the decisions for you when you stop getting along with your wife. And I will say, always protect yourself, have security cameras, have everything that can possibly prove, because at some point will come the time which you'll be able to prove.
Yeah.
And stay away from attorneys. Attorneys is the manipulation that puts people in to do these things, because they are profitable of victims that they think they have suffer of domestic violence, they have suffer of other crimes, but in reality, it's always the judge or the information you provided to the judge that makes the decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
A-
It
And
seems to it makes it worse, doesn't it?
yeah, it makes them very, very, very worse,
It does.
because the kids, if there is any, are the one who suffer the most.
Exactly. And they're the ones
And
that
by
need
the
the
time you're
most
thinking that this
protection.
is a simple, yeah, well, and I can say that I witnessed many cases that the kids, they end up going with abusive parents,
Yeah, that's a trend too.
because they are the one who's always avoiding the other parent to have a relationship with the kids.
Well, Giuseppe, it was wonderful to talk with you today and have you. Thanks for coming on and being part of the Flying Monkey podcast. And I definitely think we should have another meeting and another discussion with you. There's so much to go over. So thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
sure, I appreciate it. Yeah, I have so much to say, because this is only like 1% of my situation here.
Yeah, well, we'll have another talk for sure. Definitely.
Thanks for watching the Flying Monkey podcast. Like, follow, and subscribe to our social media sites on Facebook, X, YouTube, Rumble, TikTok, and Truth Social. You can also go straight to our webpage at www.flyingmonkeypodcast.com.